Welcome to the 3x5 news, views, and reviews scribbled on index cards. We get in and get out fast, so keep up. Yes, I'm that rare breed, a progressive motorcyclist. No, I do not drive a Harley, the motorcycle of MAGA. When it comes to YouTube, everyone is an expert. Like anyone fairly new to YouTube, I have been viewing videos by YouTube creators who provide you with the keys to being a successful YouTube creator, from simply gaining more views and subscribers to monetization. In fact, making those kinds of videos seems to be a surefire way to becoming a successful YouTube creator yourself. Wait a minute, how do beginning YouTube creators with presumably few views and subscribers make other viewers believe they are worth listening to when they have yet to experience success themselves? The obvious conclusion is that they are buying subscribers, but what do I know? Unlike them, I don't tend to be an expert. Now, 3 Trump items. Number 1, recently he said, quote, "We may go up with some tariffs. It depends. We may go up. I don't think we'll go down. Or we may go up." End quote. Ah, a man with a plan. Not. Number 2, Frank Bruni writes in the New York Times, quote, "I think we're seeing a president who's operating without anything any of us would recognize as a conscience." Unquote. Number 3, back in 2013, Trump asked his Twitter followers, quote, "Do you think Putin will be going to the Miss Universe pageant in November in Moscow? If so, will he become my new best friend?" Yeah, he actually wrote that. Not just, if I may use this term at my age, cringe, but unutterably sad. For him, for all of us. Next, make way for President Eggshell, His Excellency, as in perplexity. Open quote, "I've been walking on eggshells around my boss all day because I don't want to get into trouble." End quote. Just as likely it could be a parent, spouse, or another family member. We have all known someone like that. You just want to keep them from going off, especially at you. You lay low, you talk to them in a placating tone with words of appeasement. "My kingdom for some peace and harmony." Someone like that is a rageaholic, defined by Perplexity again as, edited slightly, quote, "someone who frequently experiences intense anger outbursts, often without apparent provocation, and struggles with managing their rage. They can quickly escalate from calm to extreme anger, often without warning. They may feel a rush from expressing anger, which can lead to repeated outbursts as a means of emotional release or control over others." End quote. As if we needed it, we also have evidence that Trump is a rageaholic play out in his Oval Office meeting with Ukraine President Zelensky. Did you notice that when Zelensky mentioned that the U.S. itself could be threatened one day? To you or I, an objective fact to consider. But a switch flipped in Trump, and he lost it. In the Yale Review, journalist Michael Wolff, whose 4th book about Trump was recently published, said, quote, "The most basic Trump White House operating rule was that nobody could talk back to the president, ever, in any sense," end quote. "As most of us know, he lives in a world," quote, "populated only by lackeys, flunkies, and sycophants," end quote, or people well versed in the art of walking on eggshells, eggshell walkers. A prominent legal scholar wrote in the New York Times, edited slightly, open quote, "The reality, and Mr. Trump and those around him know it, is that he could get away with defying court orders should he ultimately choose to do so. Because of Supreme Court decisions, Mr. Trump cannot be held liable for any official acts he takes. If the Trump administration chooses to defy court orders, we will have a constitutional crisis." Boy, do you hear that word a lot these days. "Not seen before. Perhaps after 238 years since the Constitution, we will see the end of government under the rule of law." End quote. You get what he is saying? Trump can do whatever the blank he wants. With all this talk about eggs, it seems preordained that we end with Humpty Dumpty. You know, Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall, Humpty Dumpty had a great fall, all the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again. The military reference in the last line lends credence to the theory that Humpty Dumpty was a cannon that fell from a wall during the English Civil War when attacked by the enemy. Whatever the case may be, your first instinct is to assume I'm drawing an analogy with Trump and that he will eventually collapse under the weight of all of his outrages. Alas, no. I am referring to the United States, and that's no yoke.